regarding this proposal. We'll move on to the next important story that we're tracking for you. Meenakshi Natarajan has received no relief from the Supreme Court. The petition was dismissed by the Apex Court, which actually challenged the cancellation of her nomination for the Rajya Sabha elections. The Supreme Court stated, and I'm quoting here, "We are not inclined to consider this petition." A bench of Justices Prashant, Kumar, Mishra and Atul Chandurkar delivered the verdict. The petition was filed challenging the cancellation of her nomination for the Rajya Sabha elections from Madhya Pradesh. So this is the latest that we are in fact getting for you. A petition was filed in the Apex Court regarding the cancellation of Meenakshi Natarajan's nomination to the Rajya Sabha, and now the Supreme Court two-judge bench has in fact declined to consider this petition. We have already seen that the Congress party in fact staged protests over there in the national capital, but now we are learning that the Apex Court has not considered this petition. Let me go across to my colleague Sambhav Sharma, who joins us for more on this. Sambhav, take us through the details of what went on during the court hearing. Sambhav, if you can hear us. All right, we seem to have lost that connection with my colleague Sambhav. Let's look at some more information flowing our way. NewsX has exclusively spoken to Meenakshi Natarajan after the Supreme Court dismissed her plea. Let's listen in.
नहीं, इलेक्शन कमीशन तो कॉम्प्रोमाइज है, मैं पहले दिन से कह रही हूँ. थैंक यू. नहीं, इलेक्शन कमीशन तो कॉम्प्रोमाइज है, मैं पहले दिन से कह रही हूँ.
All right, so we have the first reaction from Meenakshi Natarajan as well. Remember that the Congress party is already protesting against the Election Commission of India, saying that why have they in fact rejected her nomination. But now we have a statement from Meenakshi Natarajan as well after the Apex Court declined to in fact listen to this petition. So now we are learning that Meenakshi Natarajan has also lashed out at the Election Commission of India. She is saying that the Election Commission of India is compromised. Let me go across to my colleague Sambhav, who's with us now on this broadcast. Sambhav, if you can take us through the details of the court hearing that took place in the Meenakshi Natarajan case.
Oh, absolutely. Here, the two-judge bench of the Supreme Court in a detailed hearing, which took place in the Supreme Court for around for over an hour. Here, the top court two-judge bench finally has dismissed Congress leader Meenakshi Natarajan's petition challenging the rejection of her nomination from Madhya Pradesh for the Rajya Sabha elections. And here, the two-judge bench said that she is free to file an election petition in the Madhya Pradesh High Court. And also what the top court has said is that while no relief as such as of now to Meenakshi Natarajan from a Supreme Court, but the top court has said that we are not inclined to entertain this particular petition, and two-judge bench has rejected it. However, what transpired inside the courtroom, especially what is said by the Supreme Court, and is that Article 329 of Indian Constitution in a way does not allow this petition to be filed at this stage, and that is why we are dismissing it, what the top court said. But on the other hand, senior advocate Abhishek Manu Singhvi, who was there for Meenakshi Natarajan inside the courtroom, and he said that he quoted rather section 223, which is a intentional disobedience of order of the BNSS, and said that the matter which is being raised by the Election Commission of India while dismissing this Meenakshi Natarajan's case is at pre-cognizance level. Even the cognizance is not being taken, and that's why this is not lawful in a way, and a relief should be given to Meenakshi Natarajan in this case. However, after hearing the arguments for around an hour, the top court has dismissed Meenakshi Natarajan's petition. However, she can approach the High Court as and when she wants.
Okay, thank you so much, Samba, for all those details. Let me also rope in my colleague Anand Singh, who joins us on the broadcast. Anand, now that the apex court has dismissed the petition that was filed by Meenakshi Natarajan, what's next for her? We have the first reaction from her, and she's saying that the Election Commission of India seems to be compromised.
Yeah, Shivani, look, the way in which today Meenakshi Natarajan, soon after the Supreme Court ruling, when the Supreme Court dismissed her petition that a nomination was rejected. So, speaking to us, clearly mentioned that how the Election Commission was compromised, and she has been saying this from the very first day after the returning officer in Bhopal rejected her nomination, as mentioned that she did not mention the court notice that was issued to her, but the Congress party, and she has maintained that the entire column was only meant for any of the criminal cases filed against them. If in any of the cases the court has taken cognizance or any charges have been framed, but that column was not there, and it was only a court notice at private notice which was served to her, and it is reason why she made these remarks that they were Election Commission has been compromised. And Meenakshi Natarajan did not stop here. She said that this is clearly a murder of democracy, and the way in which her nomination has been rejected by the returning officer there in Bhopal. Back to you, Sunil.
Anand, if there is any information regarding what's the next step of action by Meenakshi Natarajan, because now that the apex court has dismissed her petition, she was earlier not speaking on this issue, saying that it was sub judice. Now that the Supreme Court has dismissed the petition, what's next for Meenakshi Natarajan?
Yeah, when I spoke to Meenakshi Natarajan, Shivani, then she was very categorical. Look, I am not an independent candidate, and whatever decision has to be taken, it will be the party leadership that needs to take a decision whether they need to go to High Court to challenge it, as the Supreme Court has said that we can approach High Court also in regard to the judgment that has come over the dismissal of resignation. And so she was very categorical that the party leadership will decide the future course of action. However, we have seen earlier in the day that how all the Congress MLAs from Madhya Pradesh, they stood united here at Congress headquarters, as they very categorically mentioned that BJP was rattled with their unity, and they feared that none of the Congress MLAs will be cross-voting in this Rajya Sabha election, and it was reason why such a flimsy ground was brought up to reject her nomination papers. And they have even said that they will be taking up this issue on the streets, as it's the only way to mark their protest and to make people aware that how autocratic functioning is going on in the country. And this is what Meenakshi Natarajan is also saying. Earlier at the time of the press conference, she has very clearly mentioned that she won't be commenting as the Supreme Court judgment, as the Supreme Court hearing was to go on with this matter,
Right.
and the matter was sub judice at that point of time. Back to you.
All right, thank you so much, Anand, for all those details. Let's move on to some other stories. A stone was reportedly pelted